Tonight we're discussing the senior high school placement Wahala. Last year, the computerized selection, school selection placement systems received a lot of negative feedback, as did the year before and even the year before that. Now, the Wales confronting the computer selection and school placement dates back to its inception years ago. But how can a system introduced to reduce the bane of poor parents who otherwise might not find good schools for their wards, irrespective of their excellent grades, still be fraught with the challenges of human errors, to the point that 20% of qualified junior high school leavers are not placed. They are actually displaced. Despite being reported, the system has been reviewed to eliminate the errors and challenges. Some parents are still aggrieved because their wards did not get into schools of their choice. Tonight, we'll engage the school selection system with a very fundamental question. Scrap it or not scrap it? And I have with me Samuel Opong, who is National Coordinator of the Computer Selection and Schools Placement System, to discuss this. Good evening, sir, and thanks for your time.
Good evening.
The computer selection schools is a mouthful, and I reckon that how mouthful it is corresponds to the numerous problems that is plaguing the system, which is supposed to make life easier for parents.
Well, thank you for having me on your show. Let me take this opportunity to express how delightful we are as a secretariat to be here, at least to answer some of the questions out there, to the extent that you said some parents are even aggrieved.
They are aggrieved, and I know quite a lot of them.
Yeah, so that's why we are here, to at least explain. But the totality of the whole exercise is that we are communicating with people, and anytime there's a problem with communication, definitely we are bound to have such reactions, because we are dealing with human beings. Secondly, every year we have a new batch of candidates and parents. Now, until the awards get to junior high school 3, most parents don't seem to care about what is happening. So what it means is that for us as a secretariat, we always have to be doing the public education and sensitization, to the extent that we think that by now, after 2005, candidates and parents, the general public should have an idea of how the
Is it to say that after several years, the problems should go away and they're not going?
No, we are not expecting the problems to go away, except that we think that they should understand the system by now, and therefore should be able to appreciate, because the problem we have with
let's just get the fundamentals. I mean, is the problem because parents or students or pupils who pass junior high school through junior high school do not understand the system? Is that fundamentally the problem? Well,
yes, to a large extent, because we expect the junior high school heads to have a proper briefing of the whole system. We've provided them with information, we've trained them over the years. So we think that before they enter into the system, they should be able to give them the brief. We have all the flyers, all the documentaries, all the information out there for them at the junior high school. As I speak, we have even gotten posters and flyers being sent to junior high school. So we think that anytime they get to junior high school 1, at least they should have some feel of the way the system works. You see, let me cite an example. This year we had about 11,200 candidates choosing Wesley Girls High School. Now they declared a vacancy of 350. And then we had about 6,000 candidates who had 9 ones and aggregate 6. Very good. But because we don't have the vacancy for them, most of them could not gain admission into their first choice, and they had to move to their second choice, and some of them third, fourth, fifth, in that order. So the problem in Ghana is that if a parent doesn't get the first choice, it means the system is not working. And that is the fundamental problem.
So this fundamental problem, is it about numbers or is it about inefficiency of the system?
No, it's about access, it's about space. If we could expand and have, say, about 700 candidates per school, definitely most of the candidates will have admission to their first choice schools. And you see, the issue also is that people prefer some specific schools because their great-grandfathers were, you know, Achimotans, their fathers were Achimotans, so the children and the grandchildren should all go to Achimota school, and that's the problem. See, so there's some special family attachment to some specific schools, and some come and they will tell you that they like some specific schools because of the training, the moral component of the training that they give to them at the school level. So it's access, and access has also got to do with space. And once we have the classroom space, once we have the dormitory space, that is also another issue that we can address. So the system is not like we want to displease anybody, but we give candidates 6 choices out of close to about 500.
Okay, let's get it. For example, if we take the issue of Wesley Girls, you said, right? Let's assume that the school is taking 350. You said they're taking 350, and then you have 550 people, or you know, getting good grades.
No, we're talking about 6,000.
6,000. Good. That makes it even easier for me. So 350 places, 6,000 eligible students.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Yeah, the system will have, you see, we divide it into programs. You have science, maybe 500 or 350. Let's assume that each program is having 50 candidates. So science 50, general arts 50, and what have you. Now we look at the raw scores. Some parents also think that we're still using grades and aggregates. We convert all grades into raw scores. And that is also another fundamental problem which we need to address very well. So over the year, I think for the past 3 years, we have been indicating the raw scores of candidates. Because you see, a grade is a range. Assuming that hypothetically we want to assume that it is 100%. And for candidates who get 80 over 100 will get grade 1. What it means is that anybody who gets 80 is grade 1. Anybody who gets 85 is grade 1.
Anybody who gets 90 is grade 1.
But it will be difficult for 2 candidates who have got aggregate 6 to determine which one goes in. That's why we have to convert the grades into raw scores, process raw scores. And then we'll be able to determine who got the higher mark. Now we arrange them in order of merit, from the highest to the lowest. So when it gets to, say, science is 50 and there are about 500 in there, it gets to the 50th mark, it casts and put them in and send the rest to their second choice. Over there, you also go and queue according to your performance.
So really, what happens to all those who have passed but are unable to be placed?
Well, it is not possible to place all candidates. But
so it's not possible for all who have passed to get admission into senior high schools?
No, because of the issue of choice. At the end of the day, we still have schools with low enrollment because candidates did not choose those schools. That's another problem which we need to address.
So you use your discretion to scatter them about?
No, that one will end us in court. We don't do that. That is why when we finish with the first placement, the supplementary placement, we make that information available that fine, you wanted school A, B, C, but it is not possible. But we still have school E, F, G, which is also having vacancies. If you are interested, you can come in. You fill the form and then you complete, and that is all. So if it is possible for us to determine, because the issue of choice is somebody's right. So that's something that fundamentally we cannot abuse. But what we can do is that if we still go around with the system on your 6th choice and you still have some vacancies in some programs, then because there's some special attachment to programs, we change your program and put you in that school. And then you're able to sort yourself out, maybe general arts, and if there's vacancy for business, we change the general arts and then give you business and we keep you in that
Would you
school.
say you are successful at what you do? Because many parents and aggrieved students say you're messing them up.
No, that is not true. It's not a statement that we are prepared to accept because since 2005...
You're not messing anybody up? It's been 7 weeks now and there are many students who have not been placed. They don't know whether they're going or coming or staying home.
It boils down to the issue of communication. I think if they are prepared to listen and know where to get the information, once we have given you all the channels of communication, they should be able to access it. At the junior high school level, there's every information that you need. District education center, municipal, metro, everywhere. There information that you can access. So we have placed the candidates. This year we had 376,859 candidates registered, and then we had 375,258 qualifying, which translates into 99.5%.
Right, Mr. Opong, we'll hold you there and get onto the phone line and speak with Kofi Bento from Imani, who is also a lecturer at SHS University. Good evening, sir, and thanks for your time on PM Express.
Okay.
The computerized schools selections placement system, would you say is living up to its reputation?
Well, if you talk about reputation, then you're talking about the history. What has to be said is that the computerized placement system is the best placement system we have evolved in this country. As to whether we are running it right or not is another matter. I don't think it is possible to develop a better system than to have a purely objective system which is computer-based and therefore does not have any emotions. So it is the best system we have evolved. The next thing is that people who manage it and run it must run it and manage it well.
It doesn't look like 7 years since it was introduced. Things have been better. It looks like it's getting worse. Would you say that?
It is not getting worse. When people don't get the schools they want, then they blame the system. What the managers of the system have to do is to make their work more public. It is not getting worse because if you have 11,000 people applying to work, 6,000 of them passing, and there are just about 400 spaces, you are going to have 5,600 or so people complaining. It does not mean the system is bad. But if the managers of the system publish raw scores and they publish people who got admission, then everybody will understand that I didn't get admission because I didn't get a higher grade than the person who got admission. So if we listen to just the complaints of parents, then we are going to think the system is not working. The system is better than the one we had first, where headmasters looked into people's faces and gave them admission. The information is what has to be put out so that people understand how this thing works. Then the next thing that we have to be sure about is that the managers of the system themselves are not manipulating the system. We have heard stories of how people visit people and then they get placement. We have heard stories about how people are able to shift from this school to the other school after they see this person or that person. So my challenge to the managers is that they should publish entirely all their work so that if somebody doesn't get space, they'll be able to see that, okay, I am 401. The 400 people who got the space got better grades than myself. So I don't accept that it is an inferior system and things are getting worse. Indeed, things are better than first.
And you also do not accept that it's bad for somebody who is not deaf and dumb to be placed in a school for deaf and dumps?
You see, that is a problem, okay? In every computerized system, you can have 1 or 2 errors. That's acceptable, okay? But you cannot look at that and generalize and say the whole system is, bad or wrong. I have to say this, that although I say this is a good system, I am aware that some of the managers of that system actually manipulate it to certain people's advantage, and that is what we must deal with. We must try as much as possible to make the system objective so that people will accept what comes out of it. That does not mean it's a perfect system.
Okay.
But the truth is that it is better than what we used to have. And if we say we don't want it, what are we going back to?
All right. And then you mentioned manipulation. You say the managers of the system must make sure the system is not manipulated. But if you say the system
to
is...
put it bluntly, we think the managers are the people manipulating it.
Yeah, so if
what
the system is not...
publish
Right.
what they do.
If the system is not bad, like you say, then how could it be manipulated?
Well, yeah, even CIA computer systems can be broken into. So people can manipulate computer systems. It is software, okay? It's human beings who run it. So like every other human institution, we must be watchful, okay, to make sure that the people who are running this thing do it well.
And this you pin down to corruption, right?
Oh, that's just corruption, yes.
Right. Let's get on the other line and speak to an aggrieved parent who is also joining us. Good evening and thanks for your time.
Good evening.
You are aggrieved. Tell us what you're aggrieved about.
Okay, thank you very much for this forum. Last Thursday, before then, we have been checked for our ward schools. In fact, we have two girls, twins, and after the examination, one had aggregate 7 and the other aggregate 9. The one with aggregate 7 got Achimota school, but the other girl, the senior one, did not get any school. So we went to the Ministry of Education to go and inquire about what to do, and they directed us to the center. We didn't even know about that place, so they directed us there. When we got there, one lady told us that they were on break, so we should come on Monday. Now, we went there yesterday. That's yesterday, Monday. And when we got there, I explained everything to the security official sitting by the gate. But she was not ready to talk to anybody, and they started making certain comments. Now,
What comments?
wondering-
What comments specifically were they making? Was it in reference to your ward passing or not passing, or what exactly did they tell you?
Yeah, they was. There was one man who was saying he's the chief security, and that nobody can enter, and that we should go and wherever we take our wards, we should take them, and that the people are busy, they cannot talk to anybody, and that the director is coming from Swede Road. If we can wait, we should wait. If we can't, we should just go home and enjoy our meals.
Right, and this made you very bitter, right? I reckon.
Very, very bitter.
And so, really, your problem is that you can't find school for your ward who had aggregate 9.
Yes,
but
did not get a school, but the other sister has got.
So what school did he or she choose? The one who had 9, or her first choice?
Their first choice was Achimota.
You are an old Achimota student yourself, right?
No, I went to Adisada College.
Okay, but you were determined that they go to Achimota school?
Not really.
Anything special influence your choice?
Come again.
Anything special did anything special influence their choice of Achimota school?
They chose it themselves.
Okay, right.
But
so
then my problem is they hadn't gotten the school. She hasn't gotten the school. So I went there specifically for that issue. And they were not ready to, let anybody in. And one thing that I was surprised about was that there is no front desk for you to kind of lay your problems and somebody would talk to you. And in fact, there was this old man who even came there, and the security official was just, he was just treating him anyhow.
Right. So, Raphael Yomefo, your name, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll hold you and we'll bring some of the issues before the coordinator, the national coordinator of the computer selection system to address. Mr. Pong.
Okay.
Back to the studio, you heard that his ward had 9, and yet he has no place. Will he ever be placed?
Yeah, well...
That's a big question, right?
No, the ward definitely has been placed. Maybe...
he hasn't checked?
Yeah, he hasn't checked because we've made provision, and we thank the gentleman who came, the Amani, is it Mr. Bento?
Bento, yeah.
Yeah, for his comments. I think that what we have been able to do over the years, one is to make sure that before we even do the placement, candidates are able to text to be sure of the programs.
But that's the whole problem. You're using a platform like text, and then you ask people to buy and check. How many people nationwide have access to internet to check?
No, you don't have to buy your handset.
Right.
Yeah, your mobile phone. I mean, virtually every village there's a mobile phone. You see, because the most important thing that we have to also observe and know.
What about those who have to buy a card to check on the internet?
No, that's the latter part of it. Maybe let me start with the first one. What we do is that before we run, because parents come, and then challenge the schools into which their wards are being placed. So what we made the provision that if you want to be sure of the schools and the programs that you register with the West African Examinations Council, the normal messaging, you key in your index number and add 12 because we are in 2012, and then you send it to 1474. It will instantly give you all the programs and all the schools that you chose. That is the first one. That is confirmation of schools and programs. That is the first one. Then the second one is when we have done the placement, we also put it out there. You do the same texting. If you are 12 years, this year's candidates, you add 12 and you send it to 1060, that will also instantly give you the school into which you have been placed. So it means that we've made information available via, texting. Then we print out and sometimes on CD or on hard copy and distribute to all the schools. And then as a condition, we ensure that we have to post it on the notice board every school so that candidates will know the programs and schools into which they have been placed. So in his case, I think he has not been able to do the text. Because I said, in introductory remarks, I said that most parents do not have any information on CSSPS until the results are out. So in his case, he's able to do the normal messaging, key in the index number of your ward, add 12, no spacing, and send it to 1060. I think whilst we are in the studio, he can try it, and you realize that the word has been placed. On Thursday, we will activate the website, and candidates will now have to print their admission letters from the net and send them to school for the normal admission process to commence.
Right, you're watching PM Express, and we're discussing your ward's senior high school placement, Wahala. If you have issues, you can send us a text 1760 or post your comments on our Facebook walls. We'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll dig into specifics of this problem. Stay with us.